bringing it yet. Let me go and share my screen. That's been shared. Okay, so this one. Real good, yeah, you can hear me. So let me just try with this to see if this works. And all the tech is working perfectly, which is one step at a time. I'm really, really excited. We've got nice lights and everything, so I'm very excited. So welcome to our event here for COP26 after the pandemic and our project hashtag Get On With It. We've been asking people all around the world to submit ideas and tell the world leaders and the policymakers how are they getting on with it, or just get on with it, just do stuff. We've had some really amazing submissions from all around the world, but really young children too. We've been working with 20 schools in the Scottish region, up to Scottish borders, and with Daydream Believers, and they've done a really fantastic job over 3 months of pulling projects together. And also with Strathclyde University and Napier University, we've had a really, really amazing submissions. Let's speak. And what I thought I'd do is I'll do a 3-minute chat. So PechaKucha, which you'll hear about in a minute, is this storytelling format, and it's to stop architects like Peter Exley talking too much about a daunting detail, where we all get bored, you know. And we started off with 20 slides, 20 seconds for live events, but since we've gone online during the pandemic, we've actually come up with shorter formats. So I'm just going to do a 10 by 20 just to put everything in context really quickly, and then we'll go from there. So I thought I better do one because everybody else is going to do one. So I'm an architect in Tokyo. I've been there for 30 years with my business partner, Astrid Klein. You saw her with the hair, I think, in the video. And this is Ginza Place. It's right in the epicenter of Ginza, the main shopping area in Tokyo. And it's a 11-story mixed-use building on the ground floor. It is the world global showroom for Nissan, and higher up we've got Sony. We also ran an art space called Super Deluxe, and it was the dawn of digital photography, a keynote on the Mac which didn't crash. And we wanted to give a platform for young architects that had only built one thing to have a lecture, be able to give a talk or something. 6 minutes, 40 seconds, you know, 20 slides, 20 seconds, and that was enough to get through things. So it's called PechaKucha. PechaKucha means chicha in Japanese. It's an onomatopoeia. PechaKucha. And yeah, they could say anything. PechaKucha, you know, Machu Picchu, it's all good. And it started off as a one-off event in Tokyo, and it's spread around the world. But I think one of the key things is that it's a very bottom-up presentation, not top-down. There are other formats with 3 letters beginning with T, That very top down, you need a book deal before you get on stage. Whereas we're bottom up. This guy's a construction worker in Japan who built some of the tallest scaffolding around construction sites. And he was 63, he's never been on stage before. He wasn't going to present, he was going to get one of my staff to talk, and he just snatched the mic off him and did it himself because his granddaughter was in the audience. So what started off as a one-off event in Tokyo has now spread to an amazing, it keeps changing every time, to 1,261 cities. We grow by about 10 cities a month, which is really, really amazing. It's done that completely virally. And it is really this space for hidden heroes like the scaffolding guy, for cities to discover themselves, who's there, who's working in them. And it's a really simple format. Why has it become so popular? Because I think it's so simple. 20 slides, 20 seconds. It's this story arc. It's got a beginning, middle, and end. It's really easy for kids to get their heads around. And it's fast, it's fun, and it's friendly. But I think, for school kids, it's really great. It's a level playing field. It's got a restriction like Twitter, 240 characters with 400 seconds. And yesterday was fantastic. We had all these school kids presenting, and then we had an architect from Edinburgh presenting. They have exactly the same tools. They completely flattened it. Makes it extremely democratic. The other great thing is we've got an amazing community around the world, and we have a format. The format reinforces community, the community reinforces the format. That's a massive flywheel. I sometimes put an app on my iPad, whether it's Canvas or something. It's there for 3 or 4 months. I use it, and then you don't use it again. Whereas PechaKucha is being continually used. So we were having about 150 events a month around the world. Then we got to April in 2020, and we had none. And luckily, we'd already been developing this online platform called PechaKucha, where you upload voice and share your reviews. Anybody can make a presentation online. And all these school kids have, which is really, really brilliant. And they've done a really great job, and they've submitted their presentations. We've been coaching them to Brian in Tokyo. We've been coming on Zoom and listening to their presentations. They're getting better and better, which is really fantastic. Thank you. A little bit about what we're up to and how to get on with it. Now, I've got a couple of presentations here. I just wanted to show what's happening here. A couple of days ago, so we had Style School from the borders down, and they presented. They had a really long day. I showed these pictures to my kids, and they're all asleep. Well, they left at 7 a.m. in the morning, and this was 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And they did a really great job, and they presented in this PechaKucha night slot. They were awesome and did really great presentations. Yeah, that's a tough day for you. Please get me out of here. So welcome to day 4 of PechaKucha. Very good. And I just wanted to play a couple of presentations. It's a 10 by 10. It's 10 slides for 10 seconds. Do you know who these are? No, okay. So they've been submitted through the website with hashtag Get On With It, which is really great. Let's try this one.
Our goal is to create our own self-sufficient community, realising the potential of the circular economy, achieved through 3 key principles: the use of sustainable materials, using PET to create structures from Glasgow's waste, the deployment of agricultural techniques to encourage independent supply, and a reintroduction of green space to the city centre, and a desire to prosper together through teamwork. We aim to create a circular economy driven by the produce of one vertical farm. The farm supplies produce to an organic restaurant, organic grocers, juice bar, and a cosmetic brand, only to be composted and returned to the farm at the end of its life cycle. To encourage the residents of Glasgow to engage with the farming space, one of the numerous on-site retail units has been expanded into an office space operating on a hot desk policy. This means you get what you give. For each hour maintaining the farm, an hour is earned in the office space, ensuring the long-term sustainability of the venture. The visual appeal of our site is incredibly important to us. The climate crisis requires action, and we require visibility, which is why our site should be eye-catching from each side of the cloud. Creating an appealing site is imperative to attaining the societal change that we need. For this reason, our retail units will extend beyond the confines of the proposed site and will rather nest themselves on the Clyde. Stilts are used to elevate our buildings from the surface of the water, similarly to those seen in Vietnam, to prevent water damage whenever a river bursts its banks. creating a striking, striving, and successful community.
Thank you, Kelly. So Kelly submitted that completely, without contacting us. We'll just do it on the website, and it's perfect for small charrettes. My business partner Astrid, she's a professor at Musabi University in Tokyo, and she gets all her students every 2 weeks to make a PechaKucha presentation. They've got to do 20 slides, 20 seconds. They get their 15-minute review, so they do 6 minutes for 40. And then 8 minutes, 20 chit chat with all the other students on the Zoom call. Yeah. But they've got clever there. They're putting, instead of 20 images, they put images in twice. So they have 40 seconds to talk about 10 images. But anyway, it's a really, really great platform now for seamlessly. So one more of these, one more step by step, and then we'll get on with the main show. This is Diana.
Here.
Come and do it live.
Who do you think might change the planet's future in today's global issues? Maybe those growing up in it, the children.
That's not her voice.
So therefore, they need to be in harmony with nature.
However, because the educational system, as we know it, doesn't focus on that and follows a stereotype, children care mostly about grades. What if we were to change that?
Our vision could be a school where they could use their creativity and have fun whilst learning and helping nature. Would that make them want to study for a better reason?
If each aspect of our place was based on a circular economy and showed how everything in the world was connected, they would actually discover it rather than just being told about it.
We would provide new subjects that give more freedom and indirectly teach kids about tolerance, equality, diversity, and how nothing in nature is perfect, although still has a value.
All of this should indicate a place that has the capacity to provide an outdoor environment that uses less materials and resources whilst producing less emissions.
We believe in making the fundamental school environment different, focusing more on the mental health and a flexible schedule, creating a place where everyone can work within their own pace.
This should make a great impact for future generations, helping them grow up as brave and fearless adults who want and can take good care of our planet.
Imagine this place as a fortress, a safe haven and hub for creativity, where children would love to go and learn more, where they could build tomorrow's world.
This place is Everland.
A place where nature and education become one. A place for new beginning and new hope.
Where kids can be kids.
That's awesome. Brilliant. Now, I'm going to see who's up next. Do you want to go first, Peter? Sure. So a little bit of an introduction. Peter and I met at the University of Newcastle-upon-Tyne School of Architecture on the first day when we were 18. That's nearly a long time ago, 2 weeks ago, yeah. And we also spent some time in America. He was there for a year. I interned with SOM in Chicago. And yeah, we were best friends. Never had a bad word at all. Go on, Peter. I should. He also runs PechaKucha in Chicago, and he's really rude to all the guests when they come up. Well, quite rude anyway. So anyway, first of all, he's a fantastic friend, and he's a fantastic architect, and he's a fantastic educator. He runs Architecture is Fun. That's his practice with his wife Sharon, and I guess to some extent their daughter Emma, who I'm godfather to. So there's lots. I'm going to start crying in a minute, but anyway. Anyway, over to Peter, the president of the American Institute of Architects.
All the things I was going to say. Okay.
You're good. Shall I get going?
Oh, let's do it, right?
Yeah.
We've got homework to do.
Yeah.
We get to three. So, Is it a wonder that I grew to be?
Hold on.
Best dressed potato soup bar.
Wow. Well, I'm also the first one as well. That's what he meant. Okay,
All right, off we go.
so here is me in the 1960s on holiday with my mom and sister, and presumably my dad's taking a picture. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about sort of continuum and timelines. So I think this sort of gives you one of those bookends. You can see that I was a nasty dresser back then. And then here is me in the 2020s. I'm in front of those same 20 columns. As Mark mentioned, it happened to be the president of the world's largest organization dedicated to the same. Quite amazing. I'm a little bit in awe of that. Just panning out a little bit. Here are most of the 15 members of my board in from the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. These are people who've chosen to lead and be part of a continuum of agency. Really important thing. Go back to the 60s for a little bit, fill you in a little bit about three aspects of the three things I do in my life. 1966, artist Edward Shea fastened an SLR camera from the back of his motorcycle and drove down the Sunset Strip. Took 27 photographs of published and printed. 6 years later, Robert Venturi, Denise Scott Brown, and Steve Eisenhower did the same thing in Las Vegas. They actually become my bosses a decade after that. They wrote, based on this book, with some colleagues from Yale University, one of the most seminal architectural textbooks of the 20th century, learning from Las Vegas. I've always wanted to make that photograph or drawing. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that continuum in my practice. I spent a third of my life dedicated to practicing architecture. My first called Architecture Spark. I spent a third of my time nurturing the next generation of leaders and architects. A third of my time in service leadership. This is the house I grew up in Yorkshire, Upney Farm. A couple of miles from these rocks and some glacier drop on Yorkshire Moors. That was the 80s, sorry, the 70s. This is the 80s. On the right, this is where I met Mark. We used to make out under those arches. And just after that, it's the oldest continuing operating tavern in the United States, a place where I got married to my wife, because my family practiced. Every child in the 1960s, so this is what has this amazing fascination with America, particularly Saturn V. So formative. There's a sort of highbrow, connection. Most Americans, most people on the planet, connect much better with everyday things like Las Vegas, Disneyland, where design is not so highbrow, not so performative, although it actually is quite performative. So I've spent my career being fascinated by things in the popular realm. Like this house that Robert Venturi and Denise Scott Brown designed. It's a ghost of Ben Franklin's house that's described and investigated through Ben Franklin's letters. So here's that version, that Edward Shea version of my life, my influences on the top. And then the 5 or 6 buildings that I've designed in my life in the last 30 years of my practice. I'll talk about this today. So I need to chat a little bit about this continuum of agency. Continuum of agency is where there is no material difference in our vocations. Put it all together today. Just imagine you're a president, you're a student, teacher, you're a drinker. This continuum means it's really incumbent upon us to do things for each other. that continuum, we've got to understand the dimensions of our privilege. And we've got to think about how we're going to extend equitability from the scale of our compensation to the scale of our environment, and use our privilege and our training as architects to lead by example. This is some of the stuff I work on at AIA. I feel like we want to lecture on but we're working on this continuum of agency, and I'm leading with my values. Someone asked me recently if I felt uncomfortable or struggled to lead in the wake of George Floyd's murder. The truth is, I have no idea what to do, what to say. So I've done a lot of listening. I've listened to everyone who's been pulled over in the car because of the color of their skin. I listened to every teenager who's ever gone, shouted at me. Every kid who at architecture school has been graded lower than a white collar, no apparent reason. AIA, our strategic imperatives are to catalyze equity and to focus everything on climate action. Colin reminds us that the most sustainable building is the one that's already been built. This is the reason I've only done 5 new buildings tonight. I'm still applying, repairing, and doing buildings. People will inherit them and need them to do more important things that will happen. In teaching and in everything that we do, we need to be listening to each other. We need to vow to act, to get a real understanding of our privilege and its power. If we do that, then our actions are going to be more effective in sustainable justice and climate justice. In this room right now represent that continuum. Continue leaders who we like or not. Hopefully you're united in their ambitions to represent. This is why next time David Lever, PechaKucha, the American Institute of Architects, in my practice, are really important to integrate. So AIA has a small delegation. I'm the leader of that delegation. We're observers. And next week is a little more emphasis on the built environment. COP26 buildings day. So we've been. So we're here talking about an opportunity to move the needle in the built environment. I don't know whether you all know, but the built environment is where 40% of greenhouse gas emissions are. So it's the one place where we can really think back and make a difference. We can eliminate the environment. It's not industry, it's not transportation. It's the things that you and I have chosen to do as our practice. And really sad that we did not know this in the 70s and 80s.
But you were saying that the building industry itself money generated.
The construction industry, in the US, is $1 trillion business. I was with John Kerry, President Biden's climate lawyers. He believes that there is about $13 trillion of financing already available. So we need to get 40% of that to the building. And, well, it's existential. Because what everybody's a young face in this. We kicked that can down the road And I'm sorry to have done that. I really feel like no purpose is to resolve the issues. Really staggers in the first one. I'm in 95,000 members of the American School of Architects also. I know that the policy shut also. I'm going out and drunk. Either that or we've got to do something. No, I'm really here with the seriousness of this because I know you all are. Well, there's a moment to
Very good. So there's thinking and drinking afterwards at the bar and you can chance to chat to Peter. So please join us a little bit later on. So up next, I'm just going to swap you 2 rounds. Yeah, sorry. So I give Richard a chance. Richard, you're up next, man.
Okay, cool.
Just do that. I need to get you a thank you slide as well. That's
You spelled my name wrong, Mark.
oh, really?
It's not O-N, it's E-N.
Let me just change
Damn.
that. Here we go. It's good. Sorry. But I spelled it the English way, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm Dutch.
That's right, okay. Wow, it's a really good line. Just keep talking a minute. Just say hello again.
Hello. Can you hear me, everybody? Rotterdam.
Brilliant. I'm going to just make you larger. Oh, no, I can do that. It's all too complicated. We'll make you large at the end, okay? I'm going to screen everything up right now. So you can see that. You can see my screen, yeah?
Yes, I can.
I'm just back to anyway. Off we go. 3, 2, 1. We'll chat at the end. 3, 2, 1. Over to you.
Hello everyone, I'm Richard Hutton. I'm trained as an industrial designer, but I'm also an activist, an expert on sustainable design. I must say, I hate PechaKucha. I hate you for this mark that you presented me. I cannot bring any message over in 20 times 20 seconds, and that is really important for me. And so let's get to the point right away. We are facing global warming and the climate change, and the reason is caused by the use of fossil fuels. And there's only one reason we have this problem: it's the use of oil, coal, and gas. And so the solution is that we stop using oil, coal, and gas. I'm a designer. I'm also an expert in circular design, which is part of the circular economy, which is supposed to solve the problem of global warming. As you can see, this is circular design, a lot of circles. It's the dandelion. The lamp I designed is for Mooi, a Dutch company. I love drawing circles, and every circle I want to make circular design. This design is according to the principles of the circular economy. So it's, my story will not be in line with my images, but I will continue to talk about the lamp you just saw. And this lamp is designed according to the principles of the circular economy. So it's repair. These screws, you can take it apart, you can replace the part, and then you can use it forever and ever. Still, these designs are not this lamp is not going to solve the problem. And because this lamp could have been made in China and then assembled in Vietnam, packed in San Francisco, and then sold in Glasgow. And that is the problem with the principles of the circular economy. The use of fossil fuel in the whole process is not taken into account. That basically makes the circular economy and circular design a greenwashing if you don't take it into account. I was in a big fight with the CEO of the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. I asked him, why do you advise Unilever to use plastic? And he said, plastic is an amazing material. And that is such a bullshit. And so he gave the example of the plastic bottle. He said, the plastic bottle lasts for 100 years. You didn't mention that it's only in use for 2 weeks. It's being produced, it's being filled with Coca-Cola, and then it ends up in the ocean. Apparently, plastic bottles end up in the ocean. So a plastic bottle will not save the planet. A couple of years ago, I was asked by Schiphol Airport to design their seating for the airport, and I thought, this is bingo. And the aviation industry has a very bad reputation when it comes to sustainability, because everybody blames flying for all the problems. That is not true, but that's what everybody does. Only 25% of all the greenhouse gas and carbon emission is done by flying, by transportation, and only 7% by flying. And so I thought these people are willing to make an extra step. And so I looked at Schiphol Airport as a mine, and I used old seatings as a source of material. They were made from aluminum. So I made this new seating system completely from recycled aluminum found at Schiphol Airport. I made a design which is completely repairable, and therefore, if it breaks, mainly by people who work there, who destroy it, it can be repaired, and therefore it can be very long lasting. Plastic is a material made of fossil fuel. It's made out of oil. I made something which is totally plastic free, which is very important to me. It stops the emission of greenhouse gases. I made a timeless designer because if I want something to last, it also has to look nice in 10 or 20 years. One of the mottos of my beginning of my career was no sign of design, and I tried to make a very archetype seating system which would stand the face of time. Also the seating, most of the airport seatings are made out of plastic. The seat is also not made out of plastic. And it's actually carbon positive instead of carbon negative. It's made out of wood, horsehair, and latex, and recycled leather. And so this design totally reduces the carbon footprint comparable with similar designs with 90 or 95%. And the most important thing I did was that all the suppliers who worked on this are based within 75 kilometers of Schiphol Airport. The red dot you see in the middle is the area where all the suppliers are. It's just a small dot on the planet. That helped me to reduce the carbon footprint massively. I told you I'm an expert on circular design. Well, you are looking now at my favorite circle. It's called Planet Earth. Nobody, you here who are listening, will get alive on this planet, and we have to really cherish it. It's my favorite circle. It's the only planet we have. We only have one, and we have to take care of it. So I hope you can look now at this image for another 10 seconds and think about it. Thank you.
There you are, Richard. This is so much. That was pretty amazing. And it's very interesting how your work has sort of evolved and really taken on board the circular economy. And I think we've been telling people here all week, all day, that every time you sit down at the drawing board or the design table, whatever it might be, the first thing that should come into your head is how can I use less? How can I use something that's coming from a renewable source? Or how can I use something which is recyclable? And I think they're the things that you need to think about. It's something that we're really conscious of. We're using a lot of wood in our designs. We've just done a big facade with Cartier. And all of the things that mix it back to the building are made from recycled aluminium frame. So I think it's really important.
Definitely is very important. And recycled aluminium is a good example. That's what I use in my design. If you look at virgin aluminium, is made from bauxite. That's mainly found in Australia and South America, and it gets shipped all over the world. For example, to Iceland, because electricity is cheap there, and from there they make bauxite into aluminum, and then it's shipped all over the rest of the world. Of course, that has a massive carbon footprint. 10% of all the electricity used in Australia is used to make aluminum. And if you use recycled aluminum, which still has the same properties, then you only use like 10% of the energy needed. And what we have to do is use less in energy from non-renewable resources.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Richard. First of all, saying yes. And well, he very foolishly said, so what are you doing over in Glasgow? So he took the bait.
And now you hook me. Okay, cheers everyone, enjoy.
Okay, I'm going to just all good. Okay, Richard has gone, so I'm going to end that call. Hey, that's pretty cool, yeah? Seamless, huh? Okay. I know. Now I've got to find my glasses first. That's the way to do it. Okay, we're nearly there. So, let's see. That's not there. You didn't see me hit the lead, did you? So I can say it. Maybe she's inside, maybe she's. There we are.
It was there, I saw it.
It was there, wasn't it?
There's someone else inside.
There it is. Oh, that was a little bit scary. Okay, very good. Maybe you'll speak with a loud voice. Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, yeah. Say hello, yeah.
Yeah, hello.
And then you speak quite close to the mic. Hi.
Louder, full projection.
Yeah, full projection.
Okay.
Do you want to do an introduction? So this IDEO, we're great friends, and I know Davide in Tokyo. My daughter went to design school. They ran during half term in Tokyo. Oh my God, trying to get on that for 5 days, 4 hours online. She was just a pain. Hey, I need a break, you know. I can't possibly be online for 4 hours. Anyway, the first day went okay, and they had to make some backgrounds for their Zoom calls. So we were in our summer house, so she pulled out all of the blow-up crocodiles and things in the pool and made it bigger. And slowly, by then, she was loving it by the end. And she got a really good review from everybody. So thank you very much. So IDEO is one of the
It'll be in here. Yeah,
okay. All right.
Almost done.
And so at that point, I said that when I was saying thank you back to ICO for running the course over 20 years, I said, has anyone got any Glasgow? That's how we got here. So thank you so much for taking the PechaKucha.
Maybe the nicest student center I've ever seen.
Okay, off we go.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I'm with IDEO. It's a big global design company working on lots of things, but including climate change right now. And I'm a systems designer there, so I'm thinking about how to move organizations really complex issues. And I've been using a lot of futuring, so I want to talk to you about what that looks like for our organization. And it's basically fiction. So since we're in Scotland, the original best piece of fiction, Harry Potter's book that shows everybody that you love is, at the time this was written in 99, phones were like this big and not connected to the internet. So it really was something crazy for my 9-year-old brain at the time. And that's the power that I want to talk about. I am originally from Hawaii, and it's one of the most remote places on Earth. And it also has a lot of resource scarcity. So coming from that place, moving through work and life, really been wanting to contribute to sustainability issues. And most recently at IDEO, that's where I've been doing. Throughout this work with NGOs and public sector, things just feel like kind of frenzy. I don't know if there's something like that here in Glasgow as well, but it can be really hard to orient around what is the theory that we're working against, how do we get organizations to swim in the same direction and pull funds the way that we need them to. And that's also something that IDEO we're really trying to start to move into. We started in product design, we designed the first Apple Mouse, and but now we're working with organizations to think about what their impact is in the circular economy, climate change, how they contribute to sustainability. I think that was so thinking about celestial things, one tool that we've been using a lot is futuring. And what it basically is taking fiction and putting it sometime in the present into the future to help us imagine what the future is. So if that fiction existed, what would it mean for our organization? There are lots of sub-disciplines within futuring. If you take the fully analytical approach, it's strategy. If you take the fully emotional approach, it's art. And in the middle is this beautiful space of speculative design, fiction, creating things that don't really make sense now, but might one day. So a couple examples. This is ocean water from 2030, staged in a public science center. And one thing that's really great about futuring is the future is common that no one owns. So you can start talking about problems about feeling expensive or guilty, which unlocks so much. A pawn shop popped up one day in Hong Kong with a bunch of plastic crap in it. And one of the items is this, which seems valueless, but we are facing a fungus that is eliminating over 3,000 species of amphibians. So one day we may, in a hypothetical world, need robotic frogs that was designed to bring that to life. And even the UN is using future. So this is a workshop that UNICEF ran, designing for great-great-grandchildren and thinking about what are the, if they really thrive in climate change, what are the resources that they're going to need to be resilient. And this is very dark, but a group called Lava Saga put on this beautiful, multi-story experience in a building to experience your own death and think about what is the ecological legacy that you want to leave for future generations. So fully immersive experiences products. But I want to talk to you about some work that we did on the plastic bag. So plastic bags, plastic in general is about 4% of oil and gas use made out of petroleum. And we wanted to see what would happen if we brought to life a future with no plastic bags, which we did with 12 fish of the largest retailers in the United States, and staged a thing in Palo Alto for a couple of months in stores, offering up alternatives that included bags made out of seaweed, bags made out of agricultural waste, reusable systems, and communities that you can engage with online and track and record your reuse. So this is what it looks like, and it's called Beyond the Bag. And we did it in California because because California has currently the most advanced policy around plastic bags and bans. So it's a little piece of what's coming across the United States. And we built a bunch of stuff from scratch, basically, with startups that had ideas that were alternatives to plastic bags. So here we're building a reusable bag kiosk that kind of works like a library. You can check out bags and return them. And we talked to CVS and Target and learned about what the future of retail might look like, so we could build that into the design. And then we just popped it into a store and watched customers interact and tried to learn about what would need to change to make it work. And yeah, sometimes it's nice to give context about the future that you're asking people to step into, and sometimes it's fun to just let them organically interact and see what happens. And yeah, I guess the thing that's most powerful in this example is that it allowed the organizations that we were working with to go to their executive teams and make it really tangible and say, this is what it could look like. What do we need to start doing now to get there? So last, I guess, example, one of my favorite love stories ever. In 79, I think they sent a ship out beyond our solar system infinitely with a record sounds of the Earth on it to help communicate to future aliens, civilizations, what we're like here. And 2 people were responsible for populating that record, Andrew and Sagan, a cosmologist. And they recorded Anne's heartbeat in love. Just recently fell in love, and a few days later she went into the hospital to meditate on that and record those sounds. So they're out in the world. And the question, I guess, for you all is, if you have a message or a thing or a vision that you want to put out, how can you bring to life what a future might look like where that thing is true in a way that's super tangible and you share so that other people can come on board and make it happen? That's it.
And more about the bag project. It's like continued and really interesting. So we have a big struggle with that in Japan. Everybody uses their plastic bags because that's what they put their garbage in. You see, the plastic bag is not to carry things. It's when you have lunch and you put your garbage in the bag. So there are not many garbage cans in Japan. So it's kind of interesting. I just want to know how has it progressed?
Totally, or dog poop. That's like the number we talked to is like 40 men. We went into people's homes and saw these like crazy closets where people have these thousands of bags for among others. The pilots are still running, and then we're going to pause them. All of the startups are going to make changes based on what and then we're going to try and stay pilots in Jersey as a way to keep learning different customers and a different pathway to the future. Yeah, the other plans for the retailers to start really investing in. They put in $1 billion already, so basically,
right. And is there what's the thing that people started using paper bags? Is there an ecological impact there too? I mean, what's the obviously paper bags really thin and efficient the amount of materials used. On paper, you know, but it's a lot of water to make paper.
Yeah. Depends who you ask. Which one? Yeah. What I really want, for the circular economy, I had a magic one. The thing that I most want is a library of materials and their relative impacts so that you can do an instant life cycle analysis of anytime. Any building that you build, any product, you'll be able to know very, very quickly. It's hard to know right now without looking at exactly what materials come from, other people covered with it. So paper versus plastic. Jury is a bit out, but that's kind of what you're looking at. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Okay. To the day 4. We have day 5 tomorrow. We have a lot of interesting presenters. Really, that we've met along the journey while we've been here in Stratford Union. The guys who do the car downstairs are going to speak. A guy that's come across in a hamster wheel all the way from Berlin, that's been parked outside of it, is going to speak. And we have a few other people that are coming over at the conference and be coming here. So there's really 4 or 5 speakers, it's about an hour a day. So please join us again tomorrow. And thanks again for your excellence. Richard's photograph. Can you take a picture of
That's